Thanks for the support as a channel member, Dave Hill. Here we are then, folks. 2 years after getting the England job, we are finally at a World Cup and doing an England-focused episode. There's lots of familiar faces in this England team from real life, plus a few of the very best English new gens have been able to scrape up. We're heading to the United States, Canada and Mexico. And I'd like to think over the next couple of episodes, we're going to win the World Cup because that helped me get a better job in the main part of the series. Panic not. Barnsley will be back in a couple of days. We've got a transfer special coming up just as soon as the World Cup is done. So if you're not interested in international football, actively cheer for the opposition in these videos and we get back to that a little bit quicker. Hello and welcome to part one of Non-League to Legend International Edition. I couldn't call it It's Coming Home. It would cause too much confusion with what happened last year with home. But as mentioned in the intro, it is the World Cup and this is my England squad. Let's have a little look through them. There's going to be lots of players here who you recognise, some that you maybe don't, but we're going to do a quick introduction to everyone who's in the squad, play our two group games, which we'll hopefully win because they're against Algeria and Honduras. So if we don't make it into the knockout rounds, we have some serious problems. But let's meet the team. There you go. That's them in order of ability. So they're England's top 5 players. Oh, there's an offer for Keith Crown from Man United. That's huge. Let's start with Keith Crown because Keith Crown is the best new gen that's come through. He's this year's Kevin Williamson. Was he the best new gen last time? I feel like he was. Came through Tottenham youth team. Was their first choice striker last year. This year, though, been battling for a starting spot with Harry Kane, who's still there. If I was Tottenham, I would bin off Harry Kane at this point and go with Crown. 16 goals in his first 14 England appearances and looks like he's on his way to Manchester United for big money. And as you can see, better than Harry Kane, who's all the way down there in this squad. But we'll go back to doing them in a proper order. So Jordan Pickford, now 32, plays for Tottenham. Went there for £23 million 4 years ago from Everton. There is a lot of Tottenham in this squad. Dean Henderson, off of Manchester United in real life. Went to Levante, where he's played in La Liga for the last 4 years, playing for them. And final is Aaron Ramsdale, who is at West Brom. In real life, he's at Bournemouth. Currently on loan, I guess, at AFC Wimbledon, or that was last season at Wimbledon, maybe. I know nothing about who plays for Bournemouth. Maybe he was playing for him regularly in real life at the moment. Who knows? But he ended up falling out of favour, going to West Brom, had a season in the Championship, and he's in the squad ahead of James Hilson, and I feel bad. John Stones, 32 years old now, still at Manchester City, had quite a glittering career for them, and of course a Barnsley icon. Trent Alexander-Arnold, normally by this stage of the save, I would have expected him to have a lot more caps at right back than that. He's actually got fewer England caps than Wan-Bissaka, who is injured, so misses out on the squad because of that. I tend to be honest, I tend to go with Wan-Bissaka as well, but Alexander-Arnold, all right, but not quite developed into the world-class player I think everyone would expect him to. Declan Rice, 27 years old, now at Arsenal. Went there for £82 million from West Ham 6 seasons ago now. Reece James, off of Chelsea, still at Chelsea, been a regular starter for them forever. Fikayo Tomori is also still at Chelsea and been playing for them forever as well. Joe Gomez, still at Liverpool. Lots and lots of game time for Joe Gomez at Liverpool. Ryan Sessegnon, still at Tottenham, where he, again, still plays fairly regularly. It's quite interesting how many of these are still at the clubs they start the game at. Max Aarons is one who isn't, because he's gone to Arsenal for £40 million, where he's been playing regularly ever since. Matt Fotheringham is a new gen who's made it into the squad. Another one, came through the Fulham youth setup, went to Birmingham, then went on to Tottenham for big money. He hasn't really played for Tottenham, but that doesn't mean he's not good enough. Harry Winks is on loan at Fiorentina. This is how he's made it back into the England squad, because slowly but surely drifted out of the Tottenham team. But his season at Fiorentina has been a good one, so that's what gets him back into the England squad. Phil Foden, still at Manchester City. I've actually played him, and Manchester City tend to play him as a central midfielder. He is going to play as an attacking midfielder for us, though, today. Morgan Gibbs-White left Wolves to go to Tottenham for £55 million. Tottenham have got a lot of money. They still haven't won the Premier League, but goodness me, are they throwing some cash around and getting some good English players. It's not doing them any good, though. They're still not winning anything. Good old Tottenham. Raheem Sterling, now at Barcelona, left Manchester City for £104 million in 2023 to go to Barcelona, where he is having a really rather good time. I mean, he is a very good football player. And of course, I gave him the number 6 because it's a great number for him to wear. James Maddison, only 10 England caps at 29 years old. He is another one who has made his way to Tottenham via Wolves. I would have expected him to have more than 10 caps by this stage of his career, but he's just... There's too many high-quality players ahead of him. But as we saw when we sorted by ability, age 29, he's finally kind of coming through as one of England's better players. Unfortunately, still not picking him because there's Foden. I guess we could play one of them deep like we have been, but just seems a little bit silly. In any other generation, he'd be a superstar. Marcus Rashford, 87 England caps now plays for PSG, left Manchester United for £41.5 million to go there, where he has not really scored. I mean, he doesn't really score goals, looking at that. Not enough goals. Jadon Sancho, also at PSG, via Tottenham. So went to Tottenham for £81 million and then on to PSG 3 years later for £120 million. Just completed his first season with them. Hudson-Odoi, also at Tottenham via Borussia Dortmund. This is what I mean about Tottenham. It is mad how much money they have been spending. £20.5 million to Dortmund, who after the Sancho business clearly have got a knack for this, bringing in young English wingers and selling them on back to the Premier League for massive money. £92 million Tottenham paid to sign him in a January transfer window. Tottenham fans, how on earth must you be feeling now? Dele Alli is still a Spurs player. Aged 30, been there a long time. Harry Kane, of course, still a Spurs player after a long career. And Keith Crown, we've already looked at, a Spurs player for now, but about to go to Manchester United. Off the back of all that, the thing that interests me even more than the matches today is what Tottenham's transfer policy has been throughout this save. So we are just going to have a little look at... Can we not look at our transfer history? That's what we want to look at. That's where I already was. So if we just go back through... It's not letting me go back through their transfers. There we go. The game's struggling a little bit. So first year, nothing. Second season, they spent £118 million on nothing really of note. Looking at that, that's like a Kev transfer window, and £64 million in for just clearing out some deadwood. So crazy transfers haven't started yet. Although for Tottenham, that's a pretty crazy summer, I think. The following year, £113 million spent, including Erling Haaland, who is now also at PSG. But as with every wonder kid in the game, passed through Tottenham at one point or another. They sold £67 million of a player that year. Again, just clearing out players that I've not heard of. Move on to the next year, £151 million spent, including the Jadon Sancho signing, and 114 in. So there must have been a big sale this summer. No, just lots of quite big sales. Again, fringe players that I guess Eric Dyer for £32 million to Valencia is a big deal. I mean, at 32 years old, he's been nowhere near my England squad. I'd kind of forgotten he existed. But, you know, he's only gone to Valencia. The following year, £145 million on 3 players, and £168 million in sales, including Ruben Diaz being sold on at a big profit, Nico Elvedi being sold to PSG. Lots of players heading from Tottenham to PSG, looking at this. And then £228 million spent that summer, 42 million there, 55 on Gibbs White, 92 on Hudson-Odoi, but £301 million of sales. That's when Haaland went for 123 million quid. Ndombele, now at Man City, 87 million. Some big transfers in Tottenham land. And then this most recent window, James Maddison for 77 million, and selling, I guess there must have been a big sale. Where is it? Oh, there you go. Jadon Sancho for 120 million again to PSG. So this isn't about Tottenham, although I am currently applying for the Tottenham job. Haven't got it yet, but neither has anybody else. So I could go and imagine me at a club that's already been doing that. that could be disastrous. This is the team we're putting out there for the Algeria game. So we're going with Pickford in goal, a back four of Sessegnon, Tomori, Stones and Alexander-Arnold, Fotheringham and Rice in midfield, Sterling, Foden and Crown supporting Harry Kane up front. There is a very good chance that if Kane doesn't perform today, Crown moves up front, Sancho comes into that midfield three. That's how we've done it for a lot of the qualifiers, but Harry Kane has kind of had a little bit of a resurgence, both for Tottenham and England over the course of the last season, keeping Crown... Oh, that's the wrong button. I missed... Oh, well. Luckily, it's only Algeria. But keeping Crown out of the Spurs team, and he's had two separate occasions for England in the last 18 months or so, where he scored 5 goals in a game and then 6 goals in a game. Harry Kane is having a, like I say, late career resurgence, probably spurred on by Keith Crown coming through, and he doesn't want to be replaced by him. So I guess he was a little complacent for a little while. Crown arrives, and all of a sudden, Harry Kane's decided to be one of the best strikers in the world. Alexander-Arnold trying to get through there. I thought he'd won a corner, but apparently he didn't. I would like to think this group stage we should make relatively short work of. And then, is this really what the World Cup's going to look like in the summer? Because looking through the groups, and I haven't got them all on here, but you can see another example of it there, Benin, France and South Korea. Firstly, there's 2 teams coming out of these groups, because every group looks like it's set up with 1 team you'd expect to move on to the next stage and 2 teams who you would expect to be knocked out in the group stages of most World Cups. So it's keeping some of the smaller nations in for a little bit longer. It's just a way to get more teams into it, I guess. But imagine watching this on telly. Who is going to sit there? Because I know a lot of people like to watch a lot of the World Cup matches, but I know I don't watch a lot of football as it is, but I can't see myself getting up for watching Benin versus South Korea or Algeria versus Honduras, especially when you're getting a couple of games like that every day because during the group stages because of how it's all structured. Wowzers. I'm fearful for the future of the World Cup if this is what it's going to look like. And plus, presumably there must be more games because with more teams there must be more rounds to play. I guess by taking one of the group stages out, they're trying to keep the number of games manageable. But still, it seems insane. Sterling with the corner. We should have scored by now. Our Algeria are a little bit better than I expected them to be. Fotheringham in a shooting position, and it's just straight at their goalkeeper. And we need to... I might have to ask for 10 minutes of passion in a minute because I was expecting to be 3 or 4-0 up by this point. Alexander-Arnold cleverly plays Crown in. Kane is in the middle, and Crown tries to be just as clever as Alexander-Arnold it was, and clearly isn't. And either that or Kane just was like, I ain't running. I'm Harry Kane. I'm just going to stand here and score my goals. I'm 400 years old at this point. Just give me goals to score. Give me penalties to take. And an effort from range from Algeria. Imagine if we lost this game. It would be almost impossible for a team like England to get knocked out of the group stages because we'd have to lose to both Algeria and Honduras. It means that the big nations have absolutely no chance of being knocked out at group stages anymore. Whereas you've had previous World Cups where like the likes of France haven't made it through their group. Well, obviously they're not going to lose to both South Korea and Benin. That's not how football works. Why have we not scored yet? 36 minutes gone, and it's a relatively even game possession-wise. Obviously, we've had a lot more chances, a lot more shots. It's screaming for Jadon Sancho to come on in this second half. Harry Kane with a big miss. He may as well put a sign on his head saying, please put Keith Crown up front and get me off because I'm past it. You're playing me for nostalgia. Get Crown in, and I think we probably do need to play Crown in his strongest position up front. Foden wins the ball back there, plays it back to Tomori, and now Crown playing far too deep for a player who's got 16 goals from 14 caps so far and is on the verge of a huge transfer to Manchester United. But, I wanted to play Harry Kane because he'd been doing good, but he's not doing good in this game. And unbelievably, we are 1-0 down against Algeria. This is not in the script. I've even said in this same video, it's basically impossible for the big nations to get knocked out in the group stages. We dominated our qualifying group. I think we finished on 30 points from 10 matches. Absolutely dominated it. we have not lost a game for like 18 months. And we might be about to lose against Algeria at the World Cup. What is going on? Managing England is a very frustrating thing. And this isn't going to give me the managerial reputation that I was hoping for to allow me to push on to get the Tottenham job. I would like to think managing all these Spurs players, if I do well with England, the Spurs board will be like, look how well he's basically got our team playing. We should have him come and manage our club. Right, we have a corner just before half-time. Alexander-Arnold can't find a red shirt. Foden plays it all the way back to Sessegnon. We are going to need a serious reshuffle of this team. I'm tempted to make a change at half-time, or maybe even a double change. Is that the impact of handing over to assistant? Right, aggressively, where's your passion? Because this has been shocking. Forget 10 minutes of passion. I want an hour of passion in these 45 minutes. Right. I'm not going to take Foden off, but I'm going to drop him back into the midfield where I've played him quite a lot. And I'm going to bring Gibbs White on because he was very good during qualifying. We have them that way around, and then I'm going to put Crown up front. And I'm going to bring Sancho on over here and then swap those two over. And that is a little bit closer to the team that I've played through. I mean, in fact, that front six is basically the front six I've used during qualifying, occasionally swapping Crown out for Kane. Have Tottenham ruined him to the point where he's actually a winger now? He was a really good striker. It's like Wayne Rooney all over again. Teenage striking sensation that somehow gets turned into, he's a midfielder now. He's a winger, an attacking midfielder. Just let strikers be strikers. Marcus Rashford, put him in the same category. Why can't England strikers just be England strikers? Especially when they score so many goals, like Crown has, and like he did in his first year for Tottenham. He's obviously just not been playing up front for a year, which is a massive problem for us. Sessegnon now with the break down the left-hand side, looking for Sterling. Sterling, who's been a world beater for Barcelona, hits the crossbar, and Jadon Sancho, who's been on the pitch 3 minutes, and grabs the equaliser. I think Sterling deserved it because it was a great effort from him, but Sancho, right place, right time, and hopefully we now go on to win this match. Let's just have a look at this effort from Sterling from range. A lovely shot from Sterling, and Sancho, like I say, just tucks it away because he's a better player than Harry Kane, apparently. That's the change that we made there. Right, we need to get creative, and I haven't actually asked us to do that. We'll give it 10 minutes, and then we're going to get creative. It's a little bit early for more shouts yet, especially when we've started the second half pretty brightly. But Algeria have the ball again and are talking of Tottenham players. I don't think he plays for them anymore, does he? He did when I managed them in FM a few years ago. Foden now trying to get a break on, but it just stops. Try and play him as a box-to-box midfielder, which is where he plays for Manchester City most of the time. And he's just... Apparently we don't get to see what he's up to because he's playing too deep. Sterling now, who has been everywhere since moving over to this right-hand side. Alexander-Arnold playing it forward for Crown to chase. Keith Crown is in, and a year ago he scores that. I hope Manchester United are signing him with a view to playing him up front because he is wasted out on the wing and it's ruined him as a striker. We need to turn him back into a striker again during this World Cup. Ryan Sessegnon, what a finish from him. Puts us 2-1 up and normality is resuming. We've had 6 clear-cut chances in this match so far. It's not that we're not playing well. We've just not taken our chances. And thankfully, we have a couple of players, Sessegnon, Sterling, who are just happy to hit it really hard. And we get the rewards for it. Tomori now. I guess we're building from the deep, playing it out to Sessegnon, who he's looking very lively now. He's got his goal, trying to get a cross in, plays it across to Sterling, who, like I say, is everywhere, trying to find Crown, and Crown not really alert to the clever little through ball that Sterling was trying to play, but Alexander-Arnold's there to cover, and it's all the way back to Jordan Pickford, who, by the way, is my England captain. Because that's what the game recommended I do, and I wasn't going to argue. I wouldn't normally give the goalkeeper the captain's armband, but I'll confess, for a lot of the last 2 years, I've not really focused that much on England. I've just been getting through the games to get to the World Cup. This is what we wanted to see. Crown is in, plays it back to Sterling, Gibbs White, and somebody somewhere in that move should have scored a goal. We are making hard work of this match. If we play like this against a good team, we will get knocked out of the World Cup. Gibbs White is in behind, finds Alexander-Arnold, picked him out beautifully, but the shot, again, not on target. Well, what have we got on the bench that we can bring on? Who's not? Crown is having a terrible game. I think we're going to take Crown off. And I don't really know what we've got in other strikers in the squad. I was only really concerned with Kane and Crown because they're the only two I've used throughout qualifying. Crown is in here, misses again. It falls to, I think that's Sterling, who just didn't look like he realised the game was still going on. I think we've got Rashford on the bench. Hudson-Odoi, I don't really want to play him up front, or Maddison. I'm going to bring Rashford on and play him up front, I think. Why would Hudson-Odoi come on to play up front? I guess we could maybe put Sterling or Sancho up there. Perhaps that's what the thinking is. But we'll try Rashford, who I don't think I've played Marcus Rashford at any point during my 2 years as England manager. So, yeah, this is... I certainly don't know when the last time he played as a striker was. But Jadon Sancho grabs our third, and that should be that now. Like I say, we made hard work of it, but ultimately, quality has shone through. But it does make me worry that we might not have this group of players in the right combination and formation just yet, which is baffling because, like I say, we've played this system largely with these players throughout all of qualifying. The thing is, though, qualifying ended nearly a year ago, and that's when Keith Crown was on fire at that point. And since then, I've just been letting my assistant manager do the friendlies, so I don't really know what's been going on with England. I'm wandering into this. Who are you then? You're my England players. Gibbs White, who was very much a part of qualifying, plays it forward to Sancho. Sancho looking for a World Cup hat-trick and can't quite get it. We're close to double figures for clear-cut chances. We should have absolutely battered Algeria. If we can sort our finishing out, we are looking like a very good side. But it is a worry that we've got two free-scoring strikers in Kane and Crown, neither of which look like free-scoring strikers based on this first match. Hopefully, one or both of them will sort their life out in, I think we've got a 4-day gap before we play Honduras. And surely, if you're going to pick a team to play against to get back in the goals as a striker who's out of form, Honduras, you would say, yeah, this is a team I should be able to grab a goal against. This should be all right. We've still got 4 minutes of time to play. This game seems to be dragging itself out rather a lot. Tomori is there from the corner. He's just going to dribble it around a little bit because he's having a little bit of fun. But I think that's probably that. Oh no, one more corner. Gibbs White, 15 seconds left on the clock. And that ball bounced in the 6-yard box and no England players were anywhere near it. We need that killer instinct that we just don't seem to have at the moment. There is work to do before the Honduras game. I guess we don't want to start the World Cup in super form. We want to work into some good form. We've certainly started the right way to work into form. And with that, Raheem Sterling has become England's most capped player. 126 caps. Still only 31 years old. He could get to 150, 160 caps if he carries on playing as well as he is for both club and country. Certainly not showing any signs of slowing down. He's having the time of his life playing for Barcelona. So I think he's probably going to set a record that's never going to be beaten. He's got 40 goals as well, so probably not a million miles away from the all-time top scorer record. Although, having said that, I imagine this man, has scored a few goals for England. Right, a couple of changes for the Honduras game. We've changed our fullbacks around, so Aarons and James come in for, who was it? Alexander-Arnold and Sessegnon, who were there before. Sancho comes into the team for Sterling. Crown continues to play out on the wing. He is now a Manchester United player. They're paying him £250,000 a week. Hopefully, now he's gone there, his head will be on right, and he'll show me that actually he is an inside forward, and that's just what he's going to be from now on. Maybe he is, and hopefully we get another performance. Hopefully we get a performance, out of Harry Kane. I am starting to think probably needed another striker in the squad. It might be a little bit imbalanced. I just pressed quick pick with some rotation just to see what the assistant manager would do. And it had Dele Alli up front. So I think the squad is a little weak for strikers. I'm relying on an old Harry Kane a little bit too much and not realising that Crown has now decided he's an inside forward, which I guess we could try some kind of strikerless thing. It was the wingless wonders that won the World Cup for England many years ago, wasn't it? Perhaps we now need to go and win the World Cup strikerless, because we could have like a front four of Crown, Sancho, Sterling and Foden, for example, and just tell the four of them to do whatever they feel like and see what happens, which would be a nice idea if I'd have had it at the start of qualifying and they were used to doing it. Don't know that the World Cup is the place to experiment with something like that. But if we're rubbish again against Honduras today, then maybe I just will for the next match, depending on who we get in the next round, of course, because I don't want to start experimenting against Brazil. If we end up playing against them, we'll just play the way we've been playing and do it poorly. Right, Tomori plays it forward to Foden, who's getting another opportunity to play in his supposedly natural position today, but was poor in the last game, has been brilliant there though, and I think he's won himself a penalty, which in turn should lead to Harry Kane getting to take a penalty, which theoretically should lead to him getting a goal and getting back into some form. Here is Kane to step up, and Kane scores for England. Goal number 78 of Harry Kane's international career. He's off the mark for this World Cup as well, and hopefully that's the start of many. What we need now is another penalty and give it to Keith Crown and just get the two of them scoring goals again, because once they're scoring goals again, we'll be all right. I think part of the problem that we've got is those of you who have been following on with the greater Premier League story in non-league to legend will have noticed that Tottenham were top of the league for ages and then had a little bit of a collapse at the end. So I do wonder if having a squad that's so heavy with Tottenham players, they're just a little bit down in the dumps because they thought they were going to finally win the Premier League and then didn't. For someone like Harry Kane particularly, that's got to be devastating. At his age, he's not going to get that move anywhere else now. And as we've already seen with Crown leaving, that team is now starting to be disassembled. Although, as we've seen from their spending, they're not shy of going and reinvesting. But obviously, they don't currently have a manager to do it with, which is weird as well. They don't currently have a manager, but are happy to sell their best young talent. I know it was a big offer, but I would have waited to see the new manager if I was them, especially if it's me. I would have liked to have kept him and built a team around him as a striker to help me with England. Right, Tomori, who seems to be the man who the ball gets distributed to and starts things off for us. Sancho, with a run from deep, plays it back to Foden. Foden out to Aarons, who's in a crossing position, but cuts it back to Fotheringham to Aarons. It's ended up with Crown, I think, whose header hits the base of the post. And, we're looking a little bit more dangerous now. Rice, playing the ball in. Kane is there, trying to just flick it over the goalkeeper, but can't quite get to it. They lump it forward, but Reece James is there just to get the ball calmly under control and hopefully just rebuild something down this right-hand side. In fact, he's lumped it forward looking for Kane to chase, and I don't think that's the kind of ball we should be playing to Harry Kane, but he has another go at it, and it's aimed at Sancho this time, I think, but it's overhit. Their keeper collects it relatively comfortably, and the ball comes back towards Reece James. It's actually Rice who wins the header. Crown trying to doing his best version of pressing, but I think he just wants to get back up front. But here he is, running from deep. Keith Crown, do something magnificent. He hits it just wide. Come on, show the Manchester United fans what they've just spent £121 million for. Go. I don't even know what their record signing is in game. That might be their most expensive signing ever. It probably isn't, judging by how crazy FM20 can be for transfers. It wouldn't surprise me at all if United have already spent more than that multiple times. Kane is in here, though. Harry Kane must score. He does score. It's 2-0 to England. And we are now, I think it's safe to say, in the second round or the first knockout round of the World Cup. Another example of dodgy groups, though. We don't need to see the replay for that. Look at the state of this other group. Turkey, Canada, Uzbekistan. No disrespect to Turkey or Canada or Uzbekistan, but I'm about to disrespect all three of you. I have zero interest in watching any of those group games on the telly. Just, I'll follow them on teletext if I really need to know. But it does feel a little bit like, and this is where Canada go on to win the whole thing, but it does feel a little bit like Group P is really just, it exists purely to give a bigger nation someone to play in the next round and knock out. I don't like the structure at all. It seems to really favour the bigger nations. Sancho is injured, which is a problem. Sterling can come on, but Sancho has been one of our better players over this first game and a half. And obviously an injury at any stage in a World Cup, because the games come so thick and fast, tends to mean you're going to miss a few of them. So that might be the last we see of Jadon Sancho at this World Cup, which means his total play would be about 90 minutes of football across 2 matches, where he was fairly instrumental in both wins. Raheem Sterling grabs another goal. I think that was 41 for him, international goals. Also adding another cap, of course, to his all-time record. There's a chance, depending on what his natural fitness levels are, he could get to 200 caps. If he's on 127 now at age 31, I mean, Harry Kane still starting at age... Oh, he's only 32. I thought he was older than that. I forget we're not that far into the future. There's a lot of these players who could still do another 3 or 4 years at least, comfortably. Sterling and Kane probably amongst them, because I'm less desperate to get rid of old men internationally, because the reason I try and get rid of the old men at club level is because I want to get money for them while I still can. Whereas internationally, if they're good enough, they can still play. Crown plays it back, looking for Rice. It's a terrible pass, though. Declan Rice, luckily, wins the ball back, and James finds Rice again, who plays James back in. Kane is queuing up in the middle, looking for his hat-trick, but it ends up with Crown. Crown back to Rice. Rice shoots from range, and it's a good effort and leads to an England corner. I think I'm probably going to take Harry Kane off in a minute. If he doesn't score his hat-trick, well, whether he scores or not, just he's done his job today. I want to give Crown some more time playing up front and rest Harry Kane. So let's do exactly that. Crown can go up front. Kane can come off. We'll bring Hudson-Odoi on, and I think we'll swap those two over. So I think they're probably better that way round. And Crown can get a good half hour or so playing up front. We're going to drop a little bit of praise because we have been a lot better than we were in that first game. But we want to see something from Keith Crown. I'm not really interested in taking him off in this match. Even if he's not playing well, even if he starts to tire, I want to force form into him. And playing as the lone striker against Honduras, if he can't score in these circumstances, I am worried about him. Sterling plays the ball forward, looking for Hudson-Odoi, brings it down beautifully and tries to shoot across goal. I mean, he does shoot across goal. The keeper makes the save, though, and the move kind of just sputters out. James has picked up a knock. We probably need to take him off just to protect him. A pulled groin, not ideal at all. Let's get him off immediately. We've got Gomez and Alexander-Arnold who can both come on, obviously. Joe Gomez is there as a centre-back rather than a right-back. So Alexander-Arnold can come on. And again, it's a problem. A pulled groin, that's the whole World Cup done. We could have lost 2 important players. James maybe less so. But he is our backup right-back. He's in the squad because Wan-Bissaka isn't. But all the same, we only picked the 2 right-backs. I guess Joe Gomez can go out there, as we just saw, if he has to. But I don't really want to have to play Gomez at right-back. Aarons plays it into Hudson-Odoi, who plays it back to Rice. Rice has been involved in a lot today. I was planning on taking Fotheringham off as my last change and just shuffling the midfield around a little bit again. But the opportunity taken away from me because of the injury to James. I've told Stones to ease off on his tackles. He's on a yellow card. He's got that Barnsley spirit about him, and we don't want him to get sent off because we don't want him to be suspended. And Keith Crown, finally back doing Keith Crown things again, grabs England's 4th goal. It's been a dominant display. We've played very, very well, and 4 clear-cut chances, 4 goals, and a tidy little finish for Keith Crown. So that's Crown and Kane both back into some kind of goal-scoring form, which is going to bode well as we head towards the knockout rounds, because we're going to need both of them to to score goals the way they have been throughout qualifying. I think Crown had a game where he scored 5 goals as well. So both of them have had some ridiculous England performances in the last couple of years, and hopefully we can drag them back to form at just the right time for whatever's coming next in this tournament. I think we played well there. I think they deserve to be told we played well. And I guess do we find out who we're playing in the next round? I'll let you know in a moment. Find out who we're playing tomorrow. In fact, injury updates first. Reece James has a pulled groin and is going to miss up to a week, which I guess is just one more match. That's not a huge problem. Jadon Sancho, though, although it says Dele Alli, Jadon Sancho has a twisted ankle and is out for 2 or 3 weeks, which is pretty much the rest of the World Cup. If we get to like the semi-final or the final, he might be fit again for that, but we're going to have to get there without him. And we've got Korea in the next round, a team that I'd already mocked earlier in this episode. So we play them in tomorrow's episode. We'll play a game or 2 more as well, probably. And eventually the World Cup will get interesting. But look at the state of this. Some of these ties, it just doesn't look like a World Cup, does it? A lot of this. South Korea tomorrow. And then hopefully we get a big juicy tie in the next round. Is it all? So it will be, if we beat Korea, it'll be Japan or Turkey. My word. We can actually see through the draw here. And if we win that, it'll be Chile or Wales or Ivory Coast or Colombia. Does anyone else feel like this World Cup's opening up a little bit? Semi-final. If we win that, it'll be Netherlands or Morocco or Spain. So this is where it potentially gets hard, because a semi-final against Spain or Brazil or the Netherlands. But we've got a relatively easy route through to that semi-final by the looks of it. I'm altogether more positive all of a sudden. But we will wrap that one up there. So if you have enjoyed it, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.